once again, I'm here with Mr. Shadow.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
All
We're
right.
back here again with another episode.
Nice. So we are gonna touch again on another subject which we didn't. We only touched the surface last time, which was the fear that the modern man has, practically, because he has a lot stacked against him. I fall into that category as well, I guess, because I'm trying to build as well. So all that is part of it. So go ahead, Mr. Shadow. We'll let you start it off.
So for this episode, we're going to talk about the fear of not having enough money. So we're going to go over what could happen if you have no money. All the cons of not having money, basically.
All right. What's the first con?
Not being able to pay your bills.
Yes.
You're literally going to be homeless. Like, it's part of life, We all hate them, but like, we got to pay them,
Yes. Yeah. No, I mean, bills are something that unfortunately we're never going to get out of. They say there's certainty in a few things in life, and one is that you're going to pay taxes. So we have to pay the government regardless.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, there's other people, because usually when you end up building, like let's say we start a small business, right? We have a small business and it's running and it's going good. Somebody out there is gonna want. Let me give you a good example. I started out a business and a small business, and when I started it, I needed permits. One, right? So the permits, you get them down at the registrar. Okay, one. So you got to go to like a downtown. I don't know what anybody else's downtown is, but our downtown is like close to Norwalk, and that's where we got to go and get all our permits. Or just to start our business or to register the business, right?
Yeah, that could take a long time too.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah.
Long process.
And then on top of that, you got to make it public. I mean, it's a lot easier nowadays. Of course, you got to make it public. You got to, you can pay somebody to do it. Again, but if you pay somebody to do it, that's where that comes in. Somebody is going to take your money.
Yeah.
So then that's con number one. And then on top of that, you're going to have to actually, after you register it, you're gonna have to register it with the IRS. So you get an EIN number or TIN, depending on what you're doing. And once you get this number, you're gonna use that for the IRS to come and take money from you. Practically, that's what you're doing. So
they look up that number.
Yeah.
For your business.
They look up the number for the business, and then they can trace all the purchases, all the, make sure you have all your invoices at all the time. And if for some reason you made a mistake, the IRS will come out there and let you know you made that mistake. You owe some money, penalties, more money that you have to pay out of pocket. Even more. So you got to do that right. All right. Then after that, then you have to have your permits in your city. Right, so whatever city you're doing your business out of, depending on your business, if it's like where it's a service where you go out, you can actually do it. You can actually put your home address. Again, but that goes public, so I don't know if you might want to do that.
No.
Yeah, might want to avoid.
That'd be a good idea.
Yeah. So, but let's say you have a nice little commercial office, a tiny one that you're paying like, I don't know, $800 a month for, right? It's really small, it's tiny, but it's enough to have an address for your business. It's enough for you to keep on going. Again,
yeah, it's all that matters, right? Just for the address,
just for the address practically, but you're paying $800 to $1,000 a month just on that, just on the office. So that's more money that comes out of your pocket. Then after that, if you have a location and people are coming in, you got to have liability insurance. More money.
There's a lot of things you have for business.
Right? More money. So then after that, if let's say it's a storefront. If you have a storefront, which is one of those regular, when you're in a plaza and you have a store in the front and it's you have your sign up and people could walk through your business. Well, then the firefighters have to come down there, or the fire department has to come down and they have to inspect it. More money. And if you're in a storefront and you're in a plaza, and you get a contract for, let's say, 5 to 10 years, depending on what you're doing, and your storefront has to pay for this thing called a CAM, which is the Common Area Management or Maintenance, whatever. Unfortunately, that rises 2 to 3%, sometimes 5% every year. So
Damn,
you're
another expense.
You're
Keeps
paying.
on going, huh?
That's the part that a lot of people don't understand about. That once you have a little bit of money, and that was my whole point for me to give this rundown on a small business and maybe a storefront or an office or what you're trying to do. The whole reason to tell you all that is the more money you make, the more money people are going to try to take from you. And that's so let's say you have a family, right? You have a family, you have 2 kids, you have a wife, and you're already paying your regular bills, and then you get a raise. What's the first thing the wife does? She starts planning on how to spend that money. That's the crazy part, right? She's thinking
where to shop, you're getting ideas,
right? So she starts dreaming of how I could get rid of this money, which is craziness to us as men, because we work really hard for it and we just don't want to throw it away,
Yeah, it gets spent in 1 second.
right? Or women always get caught on this one where it's it's only $10 a month. Go ahead and pay it, and then okay, I'll pay $10 a month. So they'll get this couch that's like, I don't know, $1,000, let's say, and they get this couch and they're paying like $20 a month or something for it, but they end up paying for like 4 years for it, and it's only $1,000. You could have just saved the money, but you end up paying like almost $1,600 for the exact same couch. The only difference was you ended up paying $20 to $40 a month, which is, I mean,
That can affect your credit score too, huh?
Yeah, and it affects your credit score on top of that. So you seeing how difficult it can be for a man, in the instance of trying to provide, and you have all these people trying to take from you. That's where the frustration and the fear comes in when you don't have enough money. So now, the question would be, like we had I think it was, I don't know if it was last episode or the episode before that. We were talking about how to measure your status or your economic status, how to measure it, or at least a goal you can get to, which is and there's a study I literally just read. I think it's called the 20K rule, or the 20K goal, I think it is. So when you get to 20K, your mind and your brain start to relax a little bit more. The reason why is because you're not living paycheck to paycheck. That's the worst thing you could do to yourself as a man, is live paycheck to paycheck. So what they do is they tell you, okay, your first goal, a mini goal that they call it. Your first goal is to get $2,500 and just put that away, right? That's your first goal, right? It usually takes maybe 2-3 months to get, right? To some people, because some people are still, they're out there spending, so they don't know how to.
Like bills, stuff. It's gonna take them a while, like a small percentage from their check. It'll take them a while, but they could if they're responsible, they can do it.
Yeah. So that's the first step, getting an extra paycheck practically. That's practically what it is. You're getting extra paycheck. or an extra month of paychecks, and then that sets up your brain, because it's a psychological thing. So it sets up your brain to ease up a little bit and be like, oh, I can do this. It's your first step. So the fear of living paycheck to paycheck, that fear starts to diminish, because now in the back of your mind you understand, I still have something just in case. So I have an emergency.
Yeah, it's a pretty good amount for emergency.
Right?
So
So
it lasts them a couple of months, right?
but depends on how you're living. If you want to live off of noodles, you could stretch that out to like 3 months. Depending on how you live and how much you spend. It all depends. Some people, it'll probably last 1 month. You just you buy yourself an extra month, and that's about it. So, because you have to account too if you have kids. If you live alone, or if you live with a wife, or you live with a girlfriend, or or you're taking care of a parent. If you account for all that, yeah, it gets an extra.
Yeah, like many different scenarios.
Yeah, so like all that will get you, that'll get you at least some breathing room. We won't say it's gonna.
Yeah.
We can't call you rich right now, but you can breathe. So, that's where they want you to start. They want you to start at around the $2,500 mark, and that's where you start. You want to start off with your first 1,000. When you accomplish that, then the 2,500 actually becomes a lot easier. And that's money you can put away. But there's many ways of doing that. If you have high, credit card bills, then I don't know. It's gonna be a little bit different, because then you gotta think: am I gonna pay? If I save the money, right? Let's say I get $100, and I'm supposed to put $100 towards my credit card, right?
Yeah.
If I save $25 and I don't put it in my credit card, then I'm gonna end up paying some type of interest anyway. So that interest.
That's more on top of it.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? So is it wise to not pay your credit card and to save money? Or do you want to pay your credit card off as fast as possible so you don't have to keep owing this money? It all depends on how you're more comfortable. Some people don't mind paying an extra $5, but saving $20, out of it, out of that month. So it all depends how you want to go about it. And of course, the more interest you pay, the better your credit score becomes. So, because you're practically paying for a number. Let's be honest. The credit card companies, they only report, because you're putting interest into them. You're paying their interest, and it could be anywhere between $5 to $10 that you're paying a month probably. But the credit card companies are very happy, because they end up getting that 25% of whatever you put in. Well, depending on your rate, of course. Now, if you have like a 35% rate, then now you're looking at 35% of whatever you have in there, which is a lot of money. Once you start getting to
that's up.
Yeah, so after 25,
monthly, yeah.
After 25%, it starts to, you start to feel it. So I'm just saying, if you have good credit and you're at the 25 mark, you can feel it, but you won't feel it as much. Now, if you're at the 35 mark, you might want to not save the $20 anymore, or probably won't even save. You would be saving like maybe $15 to maybe $13 is what you're going to be saving, instead of paying your interest. You're just better off just paying that, because that's kind of not even worth that's not even worth the money, to be honest with you. It's not even worth saving that money, to be honest with you. It's just better just to keep on going. Again, I'm just I'm just a regular guy on YouTube, so I'm just going based upon my experience. Your experience could be different. I'm also not a economy specialist, so I'm nowhere near it.
Just advice.
Yeah, we're just going based upon what we've
You do
already.
whatever you want.
Yes, yes. You do whatever you feel is right.
Hey, you don't have to believe us, but
Yeah. So it's just
Yeah.
based upon what we've already been through, and usually that helps. It helps you out and start thinking of your finances, because my question to you, right? You're pretty. I mean, you're not. You didn't just get out of high school, but you've been off of high school for a few years now. Did they ever teach you finances or any type of, I don't know, how to manage your accounts, how to manage a bank account, any of that? Did they teach you that in school?
no, none of that.
Right?
All the stuff they teach us in high school, we never use in real life. Like, I don't think I've ever used anything besides reading and writing. That's it.
All right.
That's it.
So that was very useful. Um, yeah. So this is the stuff they don't teach you. They don't teach you about finances. You get your first paycheck and you don't realize how fast that paycheck is gone.
Yeah.
It could leave the premises within the first 2 days. It could be gone completely gone. So when you think of it, you want to be pretty careful with it. You don't just want to spend, because there's other people that have the mentality of, oh, well, like this is what the rappers and the sports athletes do. They have, oh, well, I made this million, I'm probably gonna make another million, 2 to 3 million next year, so I don't care. One will get injured, the other one will get shot. You never know what may happen. A lot of these artists, a lot of these super athletes, they all end up at some point, with some weird situation, and they end up, because they have a lot of money, so a lot of people want to take it away from them, and that's a big fear. That I think I would be scared if I was being honest. That would be something that would scare the crap out of me, because now I have all this money and I got all these people aiming to get it. That's crazy, and if I wasn't taught anything in school about my finances, about my anything that has to do with my wallet, most likely it's gonna get lost, and people are going to take it. That's the bad part about it, is there's so many
reality.
Yeah, there's so many guys out there right now. They have been scammed. They have been practically scammed by people close to them, because money changes people.
It does.
And it's really sad in that aspect.
That's why they say money is the root of all evil.
Yes, they do say that, but
The same. Though.
yeah, no, that's the saying, of course. But like they say, the knife itself is a great tool, right? But if you use it incorrectly, you could really hurt somebody.
Yeah.
So, but the question is the knife dangerous, or the person wielding that knife dangerous?
That's a good question.
That's when you start thinking, oh, well then, maybe it's not the knife is not bad. Like, money is not bad. Money is spectacularly great if you have a lot of it.
Yeah, very useful.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, right? So it's a great tool, and you could duplicate it. It's a wonderful tool once you learn how to, really use it. Once you learn how to really use money, oh man, your life just becomes so much easier. You can literally sit back and have that money make money on top of the money you're already making, which is amazing. And if you really know how to invest your money, like let's say you do stocks or whatever, man, you can make a mass amount of money really quick. If you're lucky and you just put it in a certain stock and that stock grows, you could hit thousands and thousands within like 2, 3, 4 years, and you didn't even touch it, you didn't do anything to it. You get you might be able to get more than 10% back. Those are amazing situations. But then
great investments.
Yeah. So then we go back to that fear thing, though. Is when you don't know. And that's where the fear comes in, because you don't know.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm sure, what did you do with your first paycheck?
I spent like, let's say like a quarter of it, Target. Because my first check, I was, you know what? My first check, I deserve something.
Nice.
But then after that, I was like, I got no money left. So I was like, you know what? I just decided like I'm trying to save up as much as I can.
Yeah.
Because like you see something in the store, like you think you want it, but you don't actually need it. Like you just want and need. You gotta like think about it to see if you want it or you need it.
Yeah, that's something I teach a lot of my family members that are, you know, growing up. I tell them all the time, do you want it or do you need it? Because if you need it, you need to buy it. If you want it, you might want to think about it. Go home, let that ponder on it when you're at home. And if you see that you really, really want it, well then, you know, get it out of your system. But you can afford it, you know. But if you want it and you can't afford it and you're gonna put it on a credit card, ooh, you know, that's where we start running into situations where now we're paying interest and we're paying somebody, you know, we're giving the rich people more money. That's all we're doing, you know. Which if I was rich, I'd be very happy that you're doing that. But you know, I mean, yeah, it's free money. And it's like I said, it's usually 25 to 35% back. That's amazing. That's a great investment. If I could get that every month, wow, you know.
Free income, yeah.
So, you know, that's how that's how you keep yourself in a bad situation, because you're thinking, I'm gonna put this on the credit card, it's gonna be low payments, but then you see something else and you're like, oh, I need this too, or an emergency pops up, oh, I gotta put that on my credit card. You see, so now you're paying.
That's how it adds up.
Yeah, now you're adding up. It's kind of like, ooh, I want Netflix, $10. Ooh, I want Disney, oh, another $12. Ooh, I want, now you got to like $50, and you don't have enough time to watch all the stuff you have. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
You know,
The
because
smallest purchases add up the most.
yeah,
I'll say that.
yeah, it
Like
all,
the monthly ones.
yeah, they all add up. It's the same thing with again, the interest on that is it's adding up. And let's say you pay $30 a month of interest for some money you borrowed or something you really wanted, but now you're paying that throughout the year, and let's say you paid 10 months of that, that's $300 you just lost, you know.
Really?
Yeah, it's literally $300 that you no longer have, that you could have saved. So when you look at it that way, then you start realizing, wow, I am spending a little extra than what I have to. And then on top of that, you know, like I said, there's an emergency. Let's say, God forbid, and if an emergency happens, how are you going to cover it if you're already spending other stuff and you don't have an emergency fund? That's the reason why you want to start off with an emergency fund, just in case. And that's how you start off really small. But the goal is, how I measure, and how I always tell everybody else to measure it is, if you can buy a new average car, let's just say, we'll call them average, like let's say it's a Honda Civic or a Honda Accord or even a Prius, right? Some Priuses,
like brand new.
Yeah, like
You're talking about?
yeah, you can. I don't know if the Prius is the
Part of the year.
Yeah, I think Priuses go up a little bit higher. I think they're probably like 24, 25, around there. But let's say you can get yourself you can afford a $16,000 car that you can walk up in there, buy it straight out, walk out, it's yours, right? Let's say you do that. Then that's a good measurement for you to see where you're at. If you can't buy that $16,000 car, you may want to rethink what you're doing with your finances, because you're not saving enough, you're not investing enough, you're definitely spending too much if you can't afford that car. Because paying it, let's say you pay it financed, right? And that $16,000 car just turned into a $30,000 car practically. And by the time you want to resell it, I mean, that thing's lost so much value with so many miles on it. Who knows what you've done to it? I don't know if you've done oil changes every single 3 months or however many times, 5 to 10,000 miles. So you have to excuse me, you have to think of that ahead of time. And then on top of that, how much is your insurance going to charge you? Because now you're looking at $120, $130, especially if it's brand new. Now you got to cover that. So now your $30,000 investment that was actually worth 16, but once it came off the lot, it was actually like maybe around 13 to 12,000. Really, you just spent $30,000 on it. An extra probably $18,000 on it that you're spending on it. You're probably going to pay for 6-7 years. And then on top of that, you have to pay your insurance every month. So you're paying your insurance $130 each single month on top of that, because you need full coverage. And man, that just adds up. So you're looking at $400, $500, $600 a month that you're literally obligated to pay, because that car is not yours. As much as everybody always wants to say, oh, well, it's my car, I bought it, I pay the bank. Yeah. But if there was God forbid something were to happen to you at your job, or your job decides to let you go, you no longer can afford that car. And once you start missing 1, 2, 3 payments, by the third payment, that car is back in the bank's hands. And
it's like a replay, right?
Yeah. So
and that's your credit.
And on top of that, it affects your credit. You're right. So when you look at it that way, then you start realizing, wow, maybe a brand new car is not really worth it. Because the minute you drive off with that brand new car, that car already lost 20 to 25% of its value the minute it hits the road. So now you bought it for 16,000, but you could only sell it for 12,000. That's crazy. That's
like instant loss.
Yeah. That's why, me personally, I only buy pre-owned certified cars. That's all I buy. The reason being is because they're already, they're probably gonna rip me off maybe $1,000, $1,500 probably. But they do have the whole inspection. Some of them still have some warranty. Anything goes bad, I'm still semi-covered. And then I'm not going to be spending the full amount. I'll probably be spending half. So if that car brand new was, $30,000, now I'm paying like $14,000 for it. And if I pay cash for it, then I have nothing to worry about. And then the insurance won't be as high either. So, and then since it's my car, I don't have to get full coverage anymore. I can just get whatever I feel like getting. And, maybe I'll end up paying, $80 to $100 a month of insurance. So that's not terrible. But again, if you don't have that amount, then you're going to be paying what everybody else is paying. And then you're going to realize, oh my goodness, I could have just saved all that money and put it towards something else. Because think about it. Can you imagine paying an extra $10,000 for anything?
No.
Exactly.
That's such a crazy amount.
Exactly. So that's a big fear that a lot of people don't see. You know, they go into these places. Oh, it's finance. You know, I'm a salesman. Yeah, I'm gonna sell it to you. You're about to pay me a month, and I'm gonna get 5 to 10% of whatever you give every month. Of course, I'm gonna tell you this is a great investment. Of course, I'm gonna tell you you need this. You don't need it. You just want it.
No.
You know. So when you look at it correctly, you know, a lot of people, a lot of guys who are insecure, they'll buy these very expensive cars that they can't afford at a young age, and it takes them 5 to 6 years to pay this car off, and then they paid twice as much for the exact same car, and now they want to go and resell it, and it's like that same car is like, you know, $7,000 now. It just doesn't have the same value it did in the beginning. So by the time you end up paying it off, all you ended up doing was getting $7,000 out of it. Or let's say it's $10,000, but you ended up paying $30,000. So you still, you know,
They'll pay all that money just for nothing.
you paid.
You're at a loss.
Yes, you're at a loss. So that's what a lot of guys, you know, they get insecure. So when they get insecure, they don't realize. They do not.
They don't think about it. They just want to get it.
I want to get it, because that's why I tell people you have to be sure of yourself. You have to have your value already. You can't just rely on other people's validation. Like, have I ever told you, hey, bro, do I look, you know, do you think I should do this? I'm like, no. I ask you, hey, bro, I have this scenario. This is what's happening. What do you think? Right? You give me advice. You give me your feedback. I take that advice. I make my choice. Right?
Yeah.
But I never say, yo, Shadow, I need you to make this decision for me. I'm insecure about it. I don't do that. Because I like to really get into and research whatever I'm about to pursue or do. I really like to research it because I don't know what can go wrong. And
Yeah.
a lot of the fear, like if you really think about it, fear comes from not knowing,
Yeah.
right? Like little kids are scared of the dark. Why? Why are kids scared of the dark, bro?
Because you can't see.
Exactly. Because they don't know what's beyond what they can't see. So their imagination starts making these weird insecurities. So now every time they see the lights off, they don't know what's going on. That's why they don't like that.
And they start imagining things.
There you go. Right? So just like the guy who's insecure, he starts imagining, hey, if I get this car, all these girls are gonna like me.
Like if it was a magnet.
Right?
Like all the girls just
Yeah.
suddenly.
Like, well, think about it. If that was the case, then all guys around the world would just buy a car and they'd get all these girls, right? But since that's not how it works, you have to validate you have to be secure in yourself, and the value comes from you. It doesn't come from anywhere else, you know? So since you don't know, and you have that insecurity, which is, you know, kind of a fear, you don't know. So then you think, oh, I'm going to go buy this car, and this car is going to make me feel better. And it does make you feel better for like a week or two, and then you realize it's not the car. It's you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, because you're trying to compensate, you know, and that's a big problem that a lot of guys have. They try to compensate, and unfortunately it doesn't work out well for them, because they end up paying, like I said, a whole bunch of money, extra money that they could have saved, that they could have invested in themselves. They could have invested in the market. They could have invested it on a business. They could have invested in so many things. Unfortunately, you know, we don't all have that knowledge, because you know, and then on top of that, if you have a girl that's You have a girl that's loves to spend money, and she loves to spend your money, and she doesn't understand respect, and you know, you can't put boundaries on her. Then you're gonna end up spending money that you don't have, and now you're in debt because of her. And it goes back to what we said last episode, where you want to get yourself a girl that's gonna help you build, not one that's gonna try to tear you down. So those are all the things that you start. It's a lot of things we don't know. As you start as a man, as you start expanding, as you start getting that knowledge, you start realizing, oh crap, maybe I should start doing this, maybe I should start doing that, maybe I should get on this, maybe I should get on. You start realizing that you don't have the knowledge, that you're not prepared, and that you're in the situation that you're in because you just didn't have that knowledge, and maybe your parents didn't teach it to you. And that's, unfortunately, that's your parents' job, is to teach you all that. So
Yeah, they don't have the knowledge either.
yeah, maybe they don't have the knowledge either.
So you have to learn it yourself.
Yeah. And then as a man, that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be self-sufficient. So we shouldn't have to rely on anybody. We shouldn't have to be going around, and that's not saying you can't ask for help. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you should have built yourself to a point where you don't need to ask for help. That's where you should be. You should be at a point where you're just like, you know what? I don't need anybody's help. This is great. I don't owe anybody. I don't need anybody's help. And I can stand on my own. That's you getting into your manhood and being okay. Bring it on, world.
Important.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So you become self-sufficient. You don't need anything. But again, we go back to a lot of people don't have all that knowledge about money. They end up getting insecure sometimes, so they end up spending on something, a big giant debt, which is just gonna practically hold them down to be in the exact same place they're at. A lot of times when you do make a big purchase like that, whether it's a house or a car, now you're at this job and you can't leave your job, because if you do,
all the payments.
Exactly. So you can't make your payment. So now, not only are you stuck with this car and this, we'll call it an obligation. You're not only stuck with this obligation that you have to pay every month, but on top of that, you can't leave the place where you may be uncomfortable at, because it's paying that monthly part. It's covering it. So now you're frustrated because you still have to pay this thing for the next few years, but on top of that, you may be uncomfortable at the place where you're at, but since you can't really do much about it, you're just stuck and you're miserable.
Just stuck, yep.
And
for
now,
years.
And now you're looking to get that dopamine somewhere else, so you get yourself into weird situations. Maybe it's with the girl that's not worth your time. Now you end up spending money you don't have. Now the situation just got worse. So there's a lot to fear. There is a lot to fear for a modern man, because if you don't have the knowledge, it's scary out there. Now, last part I'm going to say about this is, once you do find a girl, right, and you think you're in love, and you get with this girl, she sees you have a good job, but she doesn't see that you're paying this. She sees you have a good car and a good job, so then she's like, okay, I'm going to stick with this guy. So she goes, and you guys are, she wants more of a commitment. She gets with you. You guys have a child. It becomes more expensive to have a child. You're not making enough to actually have a child, but now you guys have a child.
Yeah.
And things get really complicated. And let's say you guys got married. So you ended up borrowing another $10,000 to get married, which is a scam. To me, it is. Personally. Personally, that's a scam to me. If I have to pay $10,000 to be with a person, I'm getting scammed.
For the marriage license?
No, because most women
Or
want.
about
Most women.
the wedding, right?
Yeah, the wedding. They want a wedding. I want a big wedding. I want it to be memorable. Wonderful. Now you'll remember it for the next few years because we're still gonna owe on it.
I feel like that only applies to people with money that are rich.
Yeah. No.
If
People.
you get money to burn and go for it.
Yeah. If
But if you
you.
don't, then
Oh, by all means, if you got money and you want to get married, go all out. You got that money. But I'm talking about the average person. You know, yeah, you don't have that money. Why are you spending, $10,000 on the wedding? That just sounds crazy to me. Maybe spend $2,000-$3,000. If she really loves you, then she won't care how much you actually spend. The fact that you committed to her, that you are willing to give her a good life, that should be enough. If she's asking because she wants a bigger ring or this and that, something's wrong. You might want to run because
before you get
yeah,
married.
yeah, run. Because what happens is then you just became her retirement plan. Literally. She'll get with you, she'll be nice in the beginning, she'll be all lovey-dovey. She'll find a way to get out. She'll find another guy, maybe, and she'll get herself out of that situation. And when she gets out of that situation, you get screwed, my brother. You get nothing but screwed. And she'll take it all, and then you're gonna have to pay for it all. And if you have a child, you're gonna have to pay a little bit more on top of that. It's just
That's crazy.
yeah it's reality for us, unfortunately. And then that's where your fear comes in, where do you really want to meet a girl? Do you really want to be with a girl that's gonna possibly last time we talked about the fear of the modern man, of the accusations, right? Just walking up to a girl can lead to a very bad situation for you, because she may not like you, or she may think you're ugly, and that's the reason why you're creepy. But a guy that's like, somebody she likes and says the exact same thing you do, she may be like, oh, well, that was really flirty of him. I take it as a compliment, right? So, that's another fear right there. So the fear comes down to, obligating yourself to this woman, and she decides to run away and take it all. Everything you built, everything you've gotten, And I think that's why it's good for guys to start actually saving money, an extra paycheck or an extra month in the beginning, is because it shows you how hard you have to work to save that money. And then after that,
hours.
Yeah, right? What'd you say?
The long hours.
Oh man.
It's crazy.
Yes.
You get $20 for 1 hour of your life. I find that mind-blowing to this day. Like, it's crazy the system we have here in society, but
yes,
how it is.
Very unfortunate, but it is what it is. So we just have to accept it, adapt to it, and see how we can progress, or make some type of progress. I don't care what it is. So when you look at it, last time we talked about the fear of walking up to a woman, but imagine you're in a relationship. You built all this, right? You built all this wonderful, little nest that you built, and you have somebody coming in trying to take it all. That just sounds crazy to me.
Yeah.
Because like you just said, right? You're spending hours of your life just to save this money, and then now you're just gonna go and throw it all away. Like, so it wasn't worth it then. Your life is not worth it because you just spent a whole bunch of hours of your life killing yourself because you just want to get, a certain amount of money. You finally get there, and then you think, oh, sure, I'll just give everything. I'm worthless. I'm a nobody. You can take my money, So again, that's a man that unfortunately is weak if he does that. Unfortunately, it's a man who does not value himself and does not understand how to value himself, and he thinks that by giving away everything he worked really hard for, he's going to get some type of validation. Unfortunately, what comes easy, most people are ungrateful about. So if you paid all this money to a woman and you gave it to her, she's going to be ungrateful because it's easy for her to get.
Yeah.
So I want to hear your closing thoughts and comments on this, Mr. Shadow, and give us some advice.
My advice is for you guys to research about finance, about credit, loans, saving, all that stuff. Because what we talked about, if you do any of that stuff, you're gonna be stuck. Same cycle, same payments every month till you die. So research, start a business, and don't get stuck doing paycheck to paycheck. Because you see people, like older people in jobs, working over 30 years and you can't afford anything. And you don't want to end up like that.
Yes.
So yeah, that's my closing thoughts.
Wise words from a young man. That's I see a lot of guys who are older than me and who are aging out, unfortunately, and they've made those mistakes where they've purchased something or they got married. She ended up taking off. She ended up with nothing. He ended up with nothing. She ended up with everything. And the guy ended up paying for her boyfriend's something too on top of that. So because he's giving money and then she was giving that money to him. So it's yeah. So I mean, those are things that you really genuinely should be scared of. I'm being honest. That's something very scary to me, where I'm with a woman and she took everything I have, and then on top of that, whatever I had and she's giving it to another guy. That's just like, oh, Lord.
Like a stab in the back.
Woof. Man. That's just a terrible situation. And that's a big fear. And us as men, no, we shouldn't be fearful of anything. That is true. But we should have this knowledge so that way we don't fall into those type of situations. Because use your fear to your advantage. That's what I'm going to say about that. And my closing part on this is knowledge is key. You don't need validation from anybody. Doesn't matter what you purchase. It's not going to make you more valuable. Your value comes from inside. It's who you are as a man, not anything else. Doesn't matter what you buy. It could be the biggest chain in the world, but like they say, you can grab a piece of poop and put glasses on a piece of poop. Doesn't make it any smarter. It's still a piece of poop.
Yeah.
It's messed up, but it is what it is. So as a man, like I said, we have to accept things. Accept the truth. Be a man about it. Take accountability for your situation and where you're at. And start making better choices. And start being able to build. But when you build, be careful out there, because there's people that want to take. And if you're dumb, they're going to take it. And that's it. All right, Mr. Shadow, say goodbye to everybody.
See you next time.
All right, everybody. Peace.